Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is. Welcome
Good morning, beautiful people. I do that every time. Let me stop it. All right. How's it going this morning, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Daily Motivations for African American Success. We've been coming to you here now. I believe we are on 204 days. I don't know where Bebop is, so I'm going to keep going with it. That's how I do it. I don't know if he's overslept or what's going on, but I got the food cooked, so the barbecue must go on. So good morning. Auntie Richetta says, good morning, Butterfly and family. We got that heart going this morning. Miss Brenda says, good everything, everyone. Happy Tuesday, she said. So how was y'all's yesterday? Tell us. Yesterday we talked about a real shoe-in, right? I thought about the O.J. Simpson quite a few times over throughout my day, just kind of wondering, where he would have ended up if that neighbor was not there. Like that a neighbor was appointed and assigned for his life, I believe. So let's see, B has come in, so let's get him in. How's it going, B?
Going pretty good. Sorry, I had a couple little technical difficulties there getting started, but good morning to you.
Good morning. I was just sharing with, we got Auntie Richetta and Miss Brenda in this morning thus far that has commented. We may have some more, but just has commented. But I was sharing with them that my yesterday.
Good morning, Miss Brenda.
I thought about our yesterday's message as it relates to O.J. Simpson, and just kind of wondering, what if that neighbor had not shown up in his life, who he would have been, and thinking about how people cross our path and maybe they are assigned. Do we miss assignments? Because again, what if the neighbor had not noticed this young man that is getting in trouble, going down the wrong path, life spiraling out of control, right? So I just was kind of in my head about that, and about, of course, God, just how we don't really know anything. There's nothing absolute in our lives, in our life, but God, because he knows. He knows everything about us. And Brian, I was thinking about how you was telling us one day about our hearts. It is but for the grace of God that we're able to breathe the next second, or however, because I don't even know if it comes in seconds, but just how much about us we don't know about us, right? How much about where we will be this afternoon, where will we be in the next 30 minutes, right? I can leave for work. God only knows if I will make it and how I'll make it. Right. So I was just in my head. I guess I had a day too where I got to see God again. And then I got to see how I had doubt about some things. And I took my eyes off of God got it. A or B, God got it. A, B, C, D, E, or F, God got it. Well, I may not understand. I trust you, right? And I feel like it was a lesson for me to keep in the moments. While God, I may not understand, I trust you. I trust if the answer is A, you got it. That's what it needed to be. If it's B, you got it. That's what it needed to be. If it's Z, you got it. And that's what it needs to be. So that's my start.
Well, good. I remember you told me a little bit about your day yesterday, and some good stuff happened. God
Yeah.
always shows up, though, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that that you dwell in compassion for others. I think that's a mercy in and of itself, that you dwell in the compassion of others, really wanting the best for someone else. It will, y'all, it will worry my mother for someone that that she has just met or barely knows, for the state of their being and the station of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that as a mercy to you and a mercy to the world. And a mercy to the people that are around you. So just the fact that you see God working in other people's lives, you pray for people, you're concerned with people. I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think it's a sign of faith and belief. So even and I know this is a story in the Quran, um, about Ibrahim or Abraham, who he was like, well, God, if you could just, you know, give me something from my heart, give me a sign from my heart. You remember that, Mom? He said, just give me a sign
Yes.
from my heart. And then God told him to take and train up these birds, and then train them to come back to you. And then he had Abraham pretty much dismember the birds, right? And dismember the bird and then spread its pieces of the bird to different parts of like a mountain or an area, like completely different parts. And then he said, now call the bird. He would call the bird, and that bird came back to him all in one, alive and just fine, even though he had told him to basically, let me show you, how I can bring back life. Surely God is the creator of life, the giver of and creator of death, and he can raise you up again and resurrect you again, like he says he will do on the day of judgment. So I think, but even Ibrahim said, oh God, just give, because God asked in the Quran, he said, do you not believe? Do you not have faith? He's like, no, of course I do. Of course I do. I just need something from my heart. I just need something to calm my heart, basically. A sign. And God gave it to him. And now imagine, he didn't make it easy for him. He's like, train up these birds and now, pretty much slaughter it, dismember it, and then I'll show you I can bring it back to life. So I just thought that was interesting.
Brandon, I could hardly keep still and quiet. So I've been up studying a bit this morning, and on my card, the father of faith, Abraham. So I've been studying on Abraham this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my little book. So
Wow.
see, God is just someone someone that kind of in this story that we were talking about, without saying names and situations, of course, out of respect. But he said to me, he said, there's a place where people get where in spiritually that you no longer see them, you see God in them. And it was a blessing, right? It was truly a blessing. Um, mm, mm. Whew.
You okay? You good? Okay.
Yeah, I just think about you guys. Trust God with everything you have, no matter where you are, no matter who you think you are, no matter what you were dealt, the cards you were dealt, no matter what those cards look like, God gave you the daily ingredients to your life. Bake it. Bake your life. Go at it like you knew God walked in before you. And not only gave you the daily ingredients, he turned on the oven. All you got to do is put the pan in there. Right? And so I'm just thankful for another lesson that tells me, man, that God is who he says he is. And he's consistently trying to have us see that. He's presenting that. I won't say trying. He's presenting it before us. If only we would look and see. So I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful for, um, I'm just thankful. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for God. Right. All right. Over to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mom, for sharing with us some of your yesterday. And for other people in the comments, I don't know who all we have in there right now, but let us know how your yesterday went. Did you consider the reading from Daily Motivations for African American Success? And how did it show up in your life? If it showed up in your life, did it show up in your life? Did you share it with someone else? Just let us know any value that this book brought to your life on yesterday. Now, for the people that are new, what book are we talking about? Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro is the book that we have been reading through every single day. This book is full of witticisms, meditations, and thoughts to ponder, inspire, teach, and dream. This book is by Dennis Kimbro. So if you don't have the book, you got to go get it, guys. It's something that I think you should definitely add to your bookshelf. If you, my alarm keeps going off, because many people don't read books nowadays, but there's so much that comes from reading books. A little bit more about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So you ready to jump into it, Mom?
I'm ready to jump into it.
Cool. I tell you what, give me one quick second. I'm gonna turn this alarm off because I had an alarm set on my phone, so I could keep going off.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
You
So
didn't hear it?
I'll
Okay.
read some comments. Yeah, good.
Okay.
Big Mike says, "Good morning, everyone." So he's in with us. So if you guys are in, share if you had anything. I know you did. It's just a matter of if you saw, right? Share. Give us something. Give us something, you guys. There's a presence of God that is so heavy right now. That's all I can tell y'all. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Be present. Listen for the voice of God and believe. Like Steve Harvey said, and y'all, we rat on him, but I promise you what he said to me registered. I'm just foolish enough to think that God will. Hear that word, will. Many of our affirmations start with, I will. I will. He says, I'm just foolish enough to believe that God will do what he said he will do. For little old me, right? OJ Simpson, for little old me, regardless of the things that he went through. Because if that's when you hear his name, if that's what comes to mind, woe you. Because it could be you any day. And if not you, someone you love. One decision can change your entire life, but it will not change God's will for your life. It will not unless you don't bake your ingredients. You let the pot, the pan sit on the counter, right? So, Brandon, you better not let me get going this morning because I'm full. I had a very godly day yesterday, and it wasn't for me in the sense of the thing,
The
but it
blessing
was
and
for
benefit
me.
kind of thing.
Yeah, but it was for me as another view of who God is and how we try to control something that we don't that we try to drive the car when when God has taken over the wheel, right? When he tells us, you on cruise control, I got this. You just show up, I got this. I already know the end results. I got this. So, woo. Okay.
All right, all right.
Ooh, wait.
There you go. That's good though. It's good, Mom. I appreciate it and take up all the space that you need for that this morning. Anytime you're being grateful and grateful to God, I mean, there's no other subject that's more important than that. You know,
Yeah. And I
that is
called
all.
you. I called
Yeah.
Brandon, y'all, because I wanted to share. And it's so awesome and he listened. So I thanked him at the end. He said, "What are you thanking me for?" I said, "Just for listening, just for lending me your ear to hear about someone you don't know what's going on, the outcome of it." Because I shouldn't say complaining, but I've been talking to Brandon about it this entire time. And so I just wanted to tell him how God showed up and how he was already up, but we were missing it because we were kind of down about what we thought would happen. So, all right.
You never know, right?
Right.
All right, well, y'all, we're gonna jump into today's segment. We won't keep you long. We'll try to get out of here, read it up, give you guys some insights on what we think about today's motivation for African American success, and then we'll get you on out of here and let you continue on with your morning routine. But thank you for allowing us the space, allowing us the opportunity to be in your space this morning and to put us into your morning routine. So thank y'all so much. But today is August 22nd, 2024. Our title is Hold On to Your Faith. Hold on to your faith. And Montel Williams, the talk show host, said, "Mountain, get out of my way." He said, "Mountain, get out of my way." Faith is the prerequisite to power. It gives you perspective and the confidence to forge ahead. Faith lets you see the invisible, believe the incredible, and receive the impossible. Great men and women have never found the easy road to triumph. It is always the same old route, by way of hard work and plenty of faith. The drought of the past winter threatened the crop in a village of southern Africa. A farmer told the villagers, "There isn't anything that will save us except a special prayer for rain. Go to your homes, fast during the week, believe, and do not be discouraged. Rain will come." The villagers heard him, fasted during the week, and visited his farm on Sunday morning for more prayer. But as soon as the farmer saw them, he was furious. "Go away," he said. "I will not pray with you. You do not believe." "But sir," they protested, "we fasted and we believe." "Believe?" he retorted. "Then where are your umbrellas?"
I didn't get to read this one, so that's funny. That's
It's
cool.
yeah, it's not what we eat, but what we digest that makes us strong. It's not what we gain, but what we give that makes us rich. It's not what we read, but what we practice that makes us wise. And it's not what we know, but what we believe that makes us successful. Faith helps us face the music, preaches Bill Gray, the former executive director of the United Negro College Fund, even when we don't like the time. So faith helps us face the music, even when we don't like the time. And time, that's a reference to, I think, the time of the music, Oh, the tune, excuse me. Okay, I was like, what? Okay, faith helps us face the music, even if we don't like the tune. Okay, I get it. All right, and today's affirmation and inspirational quote, not quote, but I guess our daily affirmation that we carry with us throughout the day is very short today. It's only 5 words, y'all. It is, "I will keep the faith. I will keep the faith. So carry that with you guys today. That's the passage. Mom, you know what? I was actually thinking this before we read this. When you speak about Steve Harvey saying, I'm foolish enough, right, to believe that God will do what he said he'll do. Every time you say that, I don't think foolish. I think faithful enough.
Right.
Right. But
Well,
I
yeah.
get what he's saying.
Steve Harvey has to bring it a different way. Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, I get what he's saying. I get the, he's making a reference to how it can be perceived that is foolish. But for him, that, sure enough, that's faithful. So that's really cool. Faith helps us face the music even when we don't like the tune. And so today, say, I will keep the faith. How do you keep the faith? I'm asking, Mom.
Well,
How do you keep the faith?
remain for me, and I think for all of us, remaining trusting God for sure. I'm led to the day you hear my voice. And how do you hear and know someone's voice? It reminds me, it's funny how I keep coming back to the healing center. Reminds me one night I was when I liked to sleep with the TV on. I needed the TV on to go to sleep. Now no more. I want total silence. But I was awakened. I went to sleep. So of course something else was on, but I heard this voice in my sleep that awakened me, and it was Pastor Diane Young. But because I had heard her voice and I appreciated her voice so much when I was attending the healing center, and even after I wasn't going, it's something. It's just it. It just was something about her voice when she spoke about God. And so although I'm sleep, it awakened me, and I was like, "Oh, that's Pastor Diane, right?" And I got up, used the restroom and went back to sleep. But her voice, right? And so the day we hear God's voice, how do you know someone's voice? Right? You spent time with them, you've listened. I remember being in Sally's beauty salon, and I had left this particular job, not at Sally's, but I was in shopping. And I had left the job. This lady came around the corner and she said, Tammy Miller, I would know that voice from anywhere. So I was talking in the store to someone, but she came around because she heard that voice and she was saying hello. Again, why? Because she had heard my voice. We had spent time together at work years and years before. And it was an elderly lady, but she still knew my voice, right? So the day we hear God's voice, once we hear, are we able to discern? Abraham was the father of faith, right? And it's funny, Brandon started talking about Abraham this morning, and Abraham got a lot of lessons in just hearing and acting, right, on God's voice, trusting. Because if you go back and study how many times Abraham was instructed, and even the things that he was instructed to do, right? He heard his voice, and he didn't always obey in the way that God had told him, right? There was a point where he listened to Sarah and got into some stuff there, right? So you have to go back and study it for yourself. But even then, God was growing him, moving him to a place to hear my voice, obey my voice. It's teaching us to trust God. And while I may not understand, I trust you. Why? Because again, I can leave here today. I've made plans for today, but that may not be God's plan for my life today, right? He may have something else going on for me, but only He knows. I don't. So living life is about trusting God. Trusting God is about faith. Faith is about hearing God's voice. Hearing God's voice is about spending time, having a relationship with God. We've been up, well, I don't know. I've been up since about 4:45. And if you've been up just a little while, like you shouldn't even come to this podcast if you have not first gone to God in thanksgiving, in praise. Thank you, God. And it doesn't have to be all this long, drawn out stuff. It can if you have the time and if you want to grow more in your relationship. Every time I go in my war room, y'all, I feel the presence of God upon me in such a way until it's getting to the point that I want to just sleep in there. I remember the time Brandon came home and said, Mom, can I sleep in the war room tonight? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I've had people come over. Can I go in your war room? Yes. I had a young man text me and say, in your war room, will you pray for my mother and I? I love my mom, but it's difficult to talk with her, right? He knows about the war room. Go today if you have the time and pull some of that crap out that you don't use in that closet. I remember the day when I went in to get it going, I was throwing stuff out of there like a mad woman, right? So faith is praying and waiting, not just on God, but in God. Because if you're waiting on him, but you're not in him and don't know that he's in you, your wait might be a long time. Your wait might be over, but you might not see it because you're waiting on him without being in him and knowing that he's in you. So faith, how do you do it, Brandon? Number one, by now, you just know that you know that you know that you know some things that you don't know, God knows. Most things I don't, what I think I know, I don't, other than, man, God is real. He's as real for you as he has been for me. Have I always seen it that way? Absolutely not. What has gotten me here? Man, just getting into places where, God, I have nobody and nothing but you. And he's never failed. It may look like failure to some others, but when you look at the things that God allowed you to go through, and then you see the growth in you that came from the thing that you went through, and you can say, oh, my mighty God, thank you, because I would not be who I am. I would not be here with you and trusting you had I not had to fall on my knees and cry to a point where there are no more tears. They are backing up, right? But when I get up and when I got up and I looked at not the problem, but how God showed up in the situation and showed out, when all the little things showed that while you went through this and this and this and this, did you see this? Because that was me. Did you hear this? Because that was me. And that's how yesterday was. Like as we sat back and looked at the film backwards, you saw where God was directing the film. He wrote the movie, directed it, produced it, played it, but played it after we had saw the movie through our own eyes. We're worried that this is not going to turn out the way that we wanted it to. And God was saying, when that happened, I was working it out. When somebody said this, I was working it out. When somebody came in and asked for something that was out of the norm, but you said, okay, I was working it out. So the next time you get in a place where you start to doubt God and your prayer being answered, you be like, my prayer is going to be answered either way because only God knows. He's the only absolute value in my life. And I don't even know what that is. I remember you saying, Brandon, how try not blinking your eyes for a minute. Try not going to the bathroom, right? See what happens. There's some things you cannot control. So in that learning of that, know that you control nothing. 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 So I hope that answers your question. I know I went long. I'm sorry. But this one,
No.
y'all, this one, faith. 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 Sometimes we pray for things like, and I love it when this guy said, y'all showing up for rain and I don't got no umbrella. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, praying for a job and won't even fill out an application.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
about that? You know,
Hmm.
praying for a husband, praying for a husband, but not ready to be a wife. Don't understand what the meaning of being a wife, the spiritual aspect of it. Because if you want a husband, then you know you want a man of God, who's going to love you as Christ loved the church, right? In order for that to happen, you know, and I want to take this there, but I'm thinking about this. There was an alarming, there was a time where I kept hearing men say, we want sex no more.
Men?
Yes,
Wow. Hmm.
several over and over again. I'm talking about good brothers, good spiritual brothers, right? And we get to a place where men don't want sex. Guess why? Because he don't see a woman as women as a woman in the natural state. And so some of y'all don't even have faith just to wait in God, on God for your husband.
Hmm.
You'll go on out and get Jody. And then, Lord, why? Because you picked Jody, right? So
Jody.
I'm saying that to say we we pray for things that we don't even have faith to receive because you won't wait on God. Because while you're waiting, you could be preparing. You could be praying for that man to come, expecting it. But while you're doing it, making sure that you're ready to be the opposite of what you're praying for. Because if you're praying for a husband, you got to be a wife,
Hmm.
right? And being a wife is more than about looking the part, right? There's something powerful about both of us. And I don't want to get there, but I'll just say hold on to your faith. I'm going to turn it over to Brandon so we can get out of here.
Mom, it's funny that you made a reference to a couple things you said that um to Jody. If y'all don't know who Jody is, that's a reference to I'm sure you might not even know the reference you just made, but that's a reference to the movie Baby Boy. Um,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
yep, the 2001 film with Tyrese Gibson.
And what's
The
my girl name
he
that
sings Sweet
played,
Lady, huh?
what's the lady's name? The young that played, oh gosh. I
Oh,
think it was Taraji.
yeah,
Taraji? Yeah,
yeah. Taraji Henson. I think that's her name.
I think so.
Taraji Henson. But anyway, that's Jody is a reference to Baby Boy, and it's funny because I was just watching last night the full interview of Tyrese on The Breakfast Club when they made reference to the movie Baby Boy. So
Mm.
it's interesting enough. This was just last night, and I don't know if you remember, Mom, but I sent you, was it yesterday, day before yesterday? I sent you a snippet of that interview. I hadn't seen the whole interview at that time, but I sent you something. You said, "Oh, do I need to watch this?" And you were on the road, and I
Oh
said,
yeah,
"Go
I
back and
didn't. I
watch that."
didn't watch it. Okay.
It's a great interview of Tyrese on The Breakfast Club. This man breaks down. He well, I don't say breaks down, but he cried. He had a man cry
Mm.
on there, and it was incredible. You could tell it was a very real moment this man was having. Charlemagne asked him, "Are you how are you dealing with loss and pain? Right? Are you okay? And how are you dealing with grief?" That's what it was. And he said he took a moment, and the tears came to his eyes. He said, "I'm taking it one day at a time." And he said, "Man," he said, they gave him a moment, and
Brandon, did he lose some who passed away?
he's had
Did
people.
who passed away?
Paul. Well, he's had some of his good friends pass away, like from Paul Walker, who did the Fast and the Furious movie, died in that car accident.
Okay. Yeah.
His
Uh-huh.
passing of his mother. He's suffered divorce. Just different things have happened
Well,
recently within his life and family over the last couple of years. And well, he was taking a moment and recounting, that. And then Charlemagne said, "Do you need some tissue?" Right, like to wipe your eyes. He said, I don't need no damn tissue. He said, I'm not taking it. He said, I'm not taking it. He said, men cry. It's good for you, you know? And he started referencing, you know, different things that had happened in his life and how he dealt with it. And he also, he was really like, you could tell something was kind of coming over him. And he said, he broke it down. He said, y'all don't just go check on the women in a divorce. Women aren't the only ones that are devastated.
Oh, wow.
He said, you get with someone and you expect to spend the rest of your life with them, and it doesn't work out. Women are not the only ones that are devastated. Y'all check on the men. He said, in a miscarriage, check on the men. The woman is not the only one that is devastated. You know, he said things like that. He also he's talked about his friends that had passed away, but he said men cried. They tried to pass him a tissue anyway. He took the tissue like this and threw it. He's like, I don't want no tissue. And he started breaking down more things. He said he was talking about the superficial and all these other things. And he said, everything. He said, if y'all like me for these diamonds, if y'all like me for all this fake stuff, you know, I don't want it. I don't, you know, all this other stuff. He said, you see this right here? He said, it looks real as hell. He said, he was talking about a bracelet, diamond bracelet he had on. He said, $23 on Amazon.
My boy, then. Hey, my kind of guy.
I'm serious. Something came over that man that day, and I think that's probably my favorite interview that I've ever. That's top 3, top 5. I'll say top 3 interviews I've ever seen.
Why? What was it about that, Brandon? What was it about that? I'll ask you. I almost tried to answer it for you, but what was it?
You know, my favorite part of Wizard of Oz is when the curtain is pulled, and you see the man behind the curtain. It's not the wizard. You know what I mean? It's the
authenticity, the realness of him being a real person.
I mean, it's not even that, because I kind of it's the setup for that. It's I enjoyed the dissolving of the illusion.
Okay.
Right.
The dissolving of the illusion.
Yeah. And when you say something real, or you are your authentic self, it cuts through delusion like a hot knife on butter. So when you say something true in a place, so for example, one of the greatest deeds that you can do in Islam is speaking truth to power. Giving a true word to a tyrant, right? Like Pharaoh, right? To speak truth in a place to where it could cost you your life, but righteousness for righteousness' sake, truth for truth's sake, even if everyone around you is lying, even when the truth is against yourself, your family, or your own interests, speak the truth nonetheless. And so when that starts to happen, it cuts through the falsehood in a way that is like the way the dawning sun cuts through the darkness of the night. And one of the reasons we love seeing sunrises and sunsets is because of this light, right? And how the light looks when it's breaking through or just over the horizon, right? And so it's that transition zone that I really enjoy. And that's why it was one of my favorite interviews, because of how real it was, and giving space for Black men in particular, but men in general, to express their emotion and humanity, right? Because so much is given to women, but to women in the form of checking on them as far as their emotional well-being, right? Or the considerations for women's emotional well-beings, right? Watch how you talk to a girl, but the man is just seen as, oh, y'all just, it don't matter to y'all, right? And so men grow with this type of denial of their own heart, and the inklings that the heart kind of pushes them to experience, right? But when they don't do it, they say, "Oh, well, you should be more emotionally intelligent and all this stuff." It's like, well, how there was nothing that was supporting that emotional intelligence in effect until it affected a woman, right?
Mm.
So it's just interesting. It's just interesting that he did that, and I appreciated it for you know for that purpose and for other purposes. But if y'all can go back and watch that, Mom, I sent you a snippet of it.
Okay. You want
I'll
me to
actually
share it out there?
yeah,
Oh, you
you know
want to
what?
send me the entire thing?
I'll send you a longer version of it
Okay.
that I think will be even more helpful. But so that reminded me of that. Also, the let's go to the story, and I'm gonna try to make this fairly quick. On hold on to your faith. There was a part in here that reminded me when the man when they came back to the farmer who had told the villagers, remember. So he said, "Go to your homes," because there was no rain, and there was a drought. And he said, "Okay, go to your homes, fast during the week, believe, and do not be discouraged. Rain will come." And the villagers heard him, fasted during the week, and visited his farm on Sunday morning for more prayer. But as soon as the farmer saw them, he was furious and said, "Go away." He said, "I will not pray with you. You do not believe." And they said, "But sir," they protested, "we fasted and we believe." And he said, "Believe? Then where are your umbrellas?"
Mm.
And it reminded me of a chapter in the Quran. I think it's Al-Hujurat, right? And it's just, if I can, I would like to read this to you guys. It says, I'll start at it's chapter 49. It says 49, and I'll start at 13, but the main one I'm trying to get at is 14. It says, "O humanity, indeed we created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples and tribes so that you may get to know one another. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you, and Allah is truly all knowing, all aware." And here's the part. It says, "Some of the nomadic Arabs say, 'We believe.' Say," it's talking to the Prophet Muhammad, "Say, O Prophet, you have not believed, but say, we have submitted, for faith has not yet entered your hearts. But if you
Mm.
obey Allah and his messenger wholeheartedly, he will not discount anything from the reward of your deeds. Allah is truly all forgiving, most merciful." The true believers are only those who believe in Allah, his messenger, never doubting, and strive with their wealth and with their lives in the cause of Allah, or the cause of God. They are the ones of true faith. And say, so it always says say. So it's letting us know that these aren't his words. These are words that were given to him. He's not reciting or saying out of his own volition. He says, "Say, do you inform Allah of your faith, when Allah already knows whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth? And Allah is perfect, has perfect knowledge of all things."
Mm. Absolutely.
Has perfect knowledge of all things. Are you the one who is informing him, right? What he already knows. So don't doubt and have your deeds discounted,
Mm.
your reward discounted. Because as big as your intention, the big as your faith, as big as your reward.
Mm.
And he said that they regarded their acceptance of Islam or submitting to God as a favor to you. Like, to the prophet, right? Basically, like, "Oh, if we accept Islam, it's a favor to you, prophet." Tell them, do not regard Islam as a favor to me. Rather, it is Allah who has done you a favor by guiding you to faith, if indeed you are faithful. Right? So all that to say, like, when you doubt, it diminishes the return on the investment of faith that you have made. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you've invested deeds, right? If you've invested your time, your energy, your hopes, your dreams, your striving, and then you get to the end or in that process After all these actions, you doubt. It will diminish the return or the reward for that. So, for example, I could till the ground. I could plant the seed in the hole, cover it with dirt. I can put water on top of it, right? But after I've done all that, if I don't have faith that it'll grow, there may be a difference in the fruit and the bounty of the fruit that comes, right? You could do all the right things, just like and you guys know what this is. Let me put it even more practically for you before we get out of here. Your mama could give you, I'm talking to everybody in general, a mother in general. Your mother could give someone every ingredient and every amount, every portion of ingredient to put in some food to cook.
Did we lose B? There you
There you
go.
go. There. Thank you. Sorry about that. I'll say it again. Your mother could give someone else all the ingredients to your favorite meal and all the proportions and how to do it. And they could make it. But for some reason, it won't taste like mama's.
Oh,
Right?
I get
Why?
it.
Because the ingredient that may have been missing was love, unconditional love. And that's an ingredient that is in the unseen. That's an intention, right? That not only beautifies like beautifies the palate in a sense, if I could say so, right? Beautify doesn't just beautify the taste, but I would even lean to say that it's your body accepts it more. Your perception of it is greater, and your mother's intention inside of it is greater. So it gives you more than just the nutritional value of what you just ingested, right? And what did we read in here? It says that man, where was it? Yeah, right here. It said it's not what we eat, but what we digest that makes us strong. It's not what we gain, but what we give that makes us rich. It's not what we read, but what we practice that makes us wise.
Ooh.
And it's not what we know, but what we believe that makes us successful. So all those ingredients could come from they could put it in a better pot. They could put it in a better, they could cook it on a brand new stove. But mama's will probably taste better if she loves you and they don't. And she could cook it on a rinky-dink plug up, gas, it don't even matter, stove, because the main ingredient was love. And in these situations, especially when you're involved in the things of the spirit, and these are metaphysical principles, the main ingredient is faith. So in all your deeds, if you want to increase the return on the investment of your deed, the return on the work that your hands have done, then have faith. Have faith. Hold on to the faith. Don't let it go. How do you let go of faith? By doubting that God has any other outcome available for you than what is best for you. So do not discount your deeds by losing your faith in doubt, by losing your faith in feeling uncertain or discouraged that God will not see the situation through. And even if it comes to an outcome that you did not perceive or you did not, quote unquote, want, God is still being the most merciful to you. Because who knows, whatever you might have intended could have been bad for you and you not know it. For God is the all-knowing, the all-seeing. So in that, you should be liberated by it. Think about all the worry you have in situations where you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Because you're trying to control and drive and direct and plan. And God is the best of planners. And his provision is sufficient for us. But for your ability to be content in that providence, I mean, in that provision, is up to you. If you're anxious about what's going to happen, you're not present. If you're depressed about what happened, you're not present. But to be grateful is to be in a state of constant presence, constant faith. And today, as you go about your way, keep your faith, hold on to your faith, and let that be the main ingredient in everything that you do. Remember God and remember the reward for what your hands do, but equip those and magnify those with your faith and intention. And that's all that I have. So bring your umbrellas. If you're praying for rain, bring an umbrella, because actions speak louder than words, but faith speaks louder than even action.
Wow. I love it, you guys. Bring your umbrella. Whatever you're praying for. I spoke about a job, or maybe somebody's out there looking for a job. By the way, if you are, give me a shout out. I need a few more people. I'll tell you about it offline. But if you know somebody's looking for a job, send them my way. But I'm reminded of, I remember being asked, why is it that wherever you go, you get a job? I feel like because I did more. Like I would fill out the application, then send a letter saying, hey, I filled out an application, blah, blah, blah. I look forward to hearing from you and get an opportunity for an interview, right? And then after I got the interview, I sent another letter. Thank you. Thank you for the interview.
Mm-hmm.
I was highly impressed, da, 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 right? I want this job, in a professional way. But Brandon said, hard work beats talent any day. And people don't want to work hard. So guess who they're going to pick? The person who, oh, that lady sent me a letter. Let me call her. That's easy for them, right? And I want to leave y'all with James, right? My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith, listen to that, the trying of your faith, that's telling us that you're going to go through some things in order to grow your faith. But you keep going. It says, count it all joy, not happiness. Remember, joy versus happiness. Count it all joy because you're keeping your mind on God is growing me in my faith. He's teaching me to trust him, to have patience as I wait on him, in him, so that patience will have her perfect way, right? That ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Wanting nothing. Because you got all that you need in and through God, right? So wait on him, in him, for him, right? And then I'm going to leave you with this. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, right? So what are you hoping for? You ought to fill out an application and show up the next day and, hey, I filled out an application. I just want to say hello. Make sure you got it. Right. You might ought to be dressed because they might say, oh, well, we can interview you today. That's like showing up with the umbrella. I prayed for rain. I'm going to put the umbrella in the car today because it's going to rain.
Well, I got one. I got one too, Mom.
Go ahead and get it.
One,
I'm done. Go ahead
one
and
thing
get it.
that I used that I liked, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have.
Ooh.
Or dress for the success that you want, not the state that you're in now, right? So like if even if you're working at wherever, if you're working at anywhere, if you were the janitor somewhere, but you want to be the principal of the school, walk down them halls cleaning in a suit.
Mm.
Might change a couple things. You might find yourself in the office sooner than you believe.
You remind
Not
me of
because
the
you're in trouble.
janitor who became the principal, the janitor became the principal of the school that he was cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
I did an interview on him. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that story. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
story.
yeah.
So that's faith. That's someone who brought their umbrella, and you might need to bring that umbrella every single day. There's a type of prayer that we call tahajjud in Arabic. Tahajjud means like or just like tahajjud or salat al-layth. Yeah, salat al-layth or like night prayers. And these are not obligatory or anything at all. Like it's not incumbent upon us. Muslims pray 5 times a day because it's a commandment of God to us. But tahajjud or standing in the word for standing is qiyam, like standing in prayer at night when everyone else is sleeping. A portion of the night, either in the, it could be any time, but the best portion is the last third of the night because everybody's once one of these, everyone is asleep. And it says that God comes down close to the earth as far as presence and accepting the prayers. He comes closer to earth and instructs the angels to go out. See, is there anyone seeking my forgiveness, seeking my bounty, seeking my guidance? Is there anyone? You know what I'm saying? So in those prayers, there was there's a blessing in becoming, like there's a sweetness, there's an intimacy that is said to come to where you will not want to give up these night prayers, the tahajjud, for anything in the world, for all the riches in the world. You would not. There becomes a point, if you do this consistently, that you will not give up the sweetness of that connection with your Lord for anything in the world. And there was a man that said, a man of faith, who said that I think, what did he say? He said, like, I forced my body for 20 years to do tahajjud prayer, to stand in the night for prayer. I forced my body, right? And then for 20 years after that, I experienced the sweetness of standing in that prayer. So he had submitted his body for 20 years before he had that immersion inside of God that he had never felt. And you're gonna have benefits from it, right? But there's this particular like feeling of not just feeling, but this experience and this closeness and intimacy that you have with God. And it could come tomorrow, or it could come a week from now, or whatever. But it's after you're sitting there submitting your body consistently and constantly in faith. So you might have to bring your umbrella for 20 days, But if you stop on day 19, you didn't know that rain was coming on day 21. Right? So that's faith.
Patience, Brandon. Patience.
Right.
Patience.
And there's a hadith in that same thing about those night prayers, that God will see the servant and almost boast on that servant and say, look how this servant has left his comfortable bed, and he could have kept sleeping, left his beautiful wife in that bed, who he could have been there with her, and he left the comfort of his bed to go wash himself and to go pray and to make this submission to me. Yeah. He did not have to do that. And to do things that are unseen to other people. He's not doing, hey, everybody, I'm waking up for prayer. Haha, look at me.
Amen.
And so when you do deeds for God that other people don't see, and you almost make it a point to not let other people see these deeds, God will reward you in the hereafter with something that no one has ever seen. With bounty that likewise no one has ever seen. You think God gonna let you outdo him? Like you're gonna do something and nobody sees it? He can reward you in the hereafter with something that is not the likes of something anybody else has ever seen, that no man has ever seen. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. Hold on to the faith. I know we got to get up out. It's 8 o'clock.
Dang, Brandon, wait a minute. Just two more minutes, just really quick. So the story that I was kind of telling you guys about, that things that happened yesterday, right? This man told me, the guy, he said that he and his wife were living with a couple, and that he wakes up really early, but then he noticed the wife, the people that they were living with, the wife comes through the door, and it's still really early, and he was like, "Where have you been?" She was like, "Oh, I go every night and I just ride the city and I pray." She just rides around her city and prays for the city and the people, right? Boy, did that not register with me as it relates to our city here, and maybe you there. But imagine that, right? And I'm a selfish kind of prayer like that as well. I want to be up praying 3, 4 o'clock because I'm thinking nobody else is, so I got God all to myself. No interruptions, right? As if, I know that it doesn't work that way, but just my thinking. So think about that as we leave. I'm gonna leave you with this, but I'm gonna post this out there and what Brandon sends me. 4 types of faith. I'm not going to read what they, describe what they are, but I'm going to give you the words. Apathetic faith. And this is talking about the seeds that Brandon just mentioned a while ago as an example. Selfish faith is number 2. Material faith is number 3. And there is that 4th, devoted faith. Devoted. Let me just read this one briefly. The 4th, a faith where the seed fell on good soil to grow and be nourished and yield abundant crop. Beautifully it buds every year more brilliantly, right, than the last, continually stronger and unshaken by the storms. Standing tall, it knows its worth and lives to share that worth and beauty. This is dedicated faith. This is a faith established to last and nourish to survive even the toughest trials. This is faith with Christ at the center, a faith that says, I am nothing. I am nothing without God, and I owe him all. In him alone, I stand strong. In him alone, I achieve fulfillment. And it goes on. I'll stop there. I'm going to put it out there. It is your responsibility to contemplate on it, to read it, to open it, to live it, to allow it to simmer in your life. And I'm going to tell you today as we really close, take your umbrella, right? If you've been praying for rain, take that umbrella. All right, Brandon, let's close us out.
All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for rocking with us for this entire show. If you have been, if you haven't, I hope when you did leave, you came back and watched the rest of the show. And if you did that, thank you so much. If you could do one more thing, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram, please go back to the YouTube, type in this season podcast. Or sometimes you can type in butterfly and it'll pop up as well. But in the letter in this season podcast, like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and let the algorithm know that this is the type of content that you want to see. And it also supports this channel with a little bit of faith. So thank you so much. Today, August 22nd, our title was Hold On to Your Faith. And the talk show host, Montel Williams, gave us our quote, which was, "Mountain, get out of my way." Mountain, get out of my way. And our affirmation and inspiration at the bottom of the passage for this title is, I will keep the faith. Carry that with you today. At some point, just repeat, I will keep the faith. Okay? I appreciate y'all so much. There's some kids in there wrestling around with each other. I'm about to go check on them and tell them to stop screaming in the morning. But thank y'all so much for rocking with us. We'll see you on day 205 for the End of Season podcast. We love you. Peace.